Hi, I'm Christy. Welcome back to Transplanted Homestead. Today I have a project to plant my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 GreenStalk that's still empty with some flowers. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So in case you've never heard of them, GreenStalks are these tower planters that have their own built-in watering system with where you pour the water in the top and it flows down, and there's a disc in between each layer that collects the water. You can see it a little bit right there, the gray disc. And it goes down all the way to the bottom and then it drains out. And that way everything gets watered pretty evenly. This one I've got little tiny lettuce starts. I started these by winter sowing, which I'll talk about in another video sometime. That's a new experiment for me. And it's so far worked out pretty well. And then I have these other ones with strawberries. I have all different varieties. Almost all of them are new to me varieties because I had to choose tomatoes that are suitable for the Pacific Northwest, which was different varieties than I used to plant back home in California. You might notice these things at the top. This is just to keep like leaves and other debris. These are paint bucket strainers you can get at the hardware store. Some of them fit, some of them don't. So your mileage may vary. And then I've got another one full of strawberries. And another one. I'm hoping for lots and lots of strawberries. And then this last one is red because I inherited this from my mom when she had to downsize, and her new apartment she moved into does not have a balcony big enough to hold a GreenStalk, unfortunately. But hey, it was my gain. And then this brown one was my original, which was actually my favorite color. I like that it sets off the green of the plants. But they stopped making it like right after I got my first greenhouse or GreenStalk. And so the next best was the dark green. I really wish I could have all brown ones, but I just have this one. And then I have 2 more GreenStalks coming on the way because it's sort of an addiction. Once you get one, you get more. Just be prepared for that. Now I'm gonna go collect a couple of things I need and then get started planting. Okay, I've got some worm castings. I'm gonna put a little bit in each planting hole. Got some rubber gloves. I like using those because I can feel what I'm doing, unlike regular gardening gloves. And then I have these tags which are gonna help me keep track of the colors I put in each spot. I've also got the paint strainers, bucket strainers I mentioned. This is the brand I've found that actually fits. It's a little tricky to get it on there at first, but it does ultimately fit. I've also ordered some from Amazon before and they didn't fit at all, so I thought I would help you out by pointing out this brand that actually works. So my plan is to put petunias in. I have, let's see, several different colors, and I'm gonna try to alternate them so they make sort of a spiral pattern up and around the GreenStalk. I've never done this myself, but I've seen others do it, and I'm excited to try it. Let's just start by looking at the flowers I picked out yesterday. I went to my local feed store on Sunday, and they had these on sale, buy 2 get 1 free, but when I went back yesterday, the sale was over, but I needed them anyway, so I went ahead. Okay, so the leaf planter, which is the one I'm planting in right now, the pockets are a little shorter. If you look at the one behind those pockets, that's the original, and the pockets are much deeper. But I'm working with a leaf right now, which has 7 levels of these tiers. So that means I need 7, 6, and each tier has 6 pockets. You plant 1 in each space, like I showed you with the strawberries over there. So that means I need 7 6-packs of flowers to fill this whole thing. There's one more over here. So what I chose was, let's see, I have Madness Yellow, and I have a couple of those. And I have Carpet Sky Blue, which looks like it's a mix. And I have Double Madness Mix, which is more of pinks and, just pink colors. So, and those are the 3 colors I picked. So I'm going to alternate these like stripes basically. I'll have a pocket of yellow, and then a pocket of, I don't know, purple, and then the pink ones, and I'll go back to yellow, purple, pink again. And I'm gonna do that on all of these, except when I line up the tiers, I'm gonna stack them in a way where yellow starts here, but on the next level up, yellow would actually be in this pocket. And so ultimately it should make like a diagonal spiral up the tower. Fingers crossed it works. And to help me keep track of what colors I planted where and how to align these planters once I stack them, I have these little tags that I'm planning to put in the starting pocket for each one. So where I plant a yellow, the starting yellow, I will put one of those in each one, so that when I line them up, I know exactly what to do. Otherwise, there's no way I would be able to tell these plants don't have flowers on them yet. I only need one for each level. Oh wow, I picked exactly the right number. No, I didn't. I'm short one. Whoops. All right, let me go get one more from the garage. And then last one right there. So now I'm ready to lay out the flowers in each pocket before I plant them. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention when I was talking about the flowers I also got one pack of white, and these are just gonna go on all together on the top layer. So I'm gonna put them down here, I think. The reason for that is because the pockets each have, the tiers each have 6 pockets, and so that means I need a 6-pack of flowers to fill each one. But if that means I would need 7 different colors to fill all of them, but then it doesn't work with my spiral pattern. So I'm doing 6 levels that will be spiraled, and then the white will be at the top. So that's just my workaround. Maybe I'll think of another solution some other time, but for now. All right, so I'm gonna put my gloves. Like I said, I really like to use these because it's the next best thing to bare hands. You can really feel what you're doing. All right, so I've got my markers. And since this is the white one, it doesn't need a marker after all. And I am just gonna start, actually, you could have just done this, but I'm gonna start by just popping these out and starting with, and I'm gonna use the same, I'm gonna go clockwise on each one, alternating colors. So where the blue marker is, yikes, these are really root bound. You see all the roots, really root bound, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna put yellow petunias where the blue tags are to start. It's easier to lay them out first so I don't end up confusing myself later on. And then that's, oh, I forgot, there's one more down here. Can't forget this one. All right, then let's see, I guess I can do either purple or pink. Doesn't really matter. I think I'll do the purple one, and I'm gonna go clockwise. So I'll just put purple here so I know. Purple. I really like pale yellow and purple colors together when I choose flowers. I think it's really pretty combo. And I'm hoping these are going to be pale yellow. They look like they are, the yellow petunias. Oh, I'm really confusing myself with these ones. Let me kind of move it away from the rest. Okay. So that was purple. Now we need to go pink. Again, working clockwise. I'm always really happy when I find flowers at the nursery that haven't bloomed at all yet. because that means there's a lot of life in them to go. They haven't already like reached their peak. Like sometimes you go to the nursery and they're all bloomed out, but you know that the flowering is going to last much longer if it's already been flowering that long. So it's good to get them with just green. Maybe some buds are good, but not a bunch of flowers already on there. Okay, so now I go back to yellow and I repeat the pattern. Okay, so I should be ready to start planting. Doesn't really matter which one I start with. This one seems closest to the camera, so I'll start with that. And these are my worm castings. I'm going to put just a little pinch or small handful in each planting hole to give them a little boost. You might have noticed I actually do have a worm farm in my garage. I have a few worm farms, but since we moved here, I haven't really got it. There's some worms in there, but not a lot, and we haven't been consistent with feeding it, and the castings aren't ready to harvest, so that's why I bought some at Costco this time. But in the future, once I get that going, I will have my own supply. And I also like to make worm tea often with worm castings. It goes a lot further if you make the tea rather than just directly use the castings. So I'm just digging a hole by hand. Take, about this much. Sprinkle it in with the plant, and then return the soil. And just keep doing this all the way around 7 times over. I should mention, I already had filled this, but this is potting soil. That's very important when you're planting in GreenStalks. Really any kind of container, you want to use potting soil, not garden soil, not topsoil, not dirt from your garden, not raised bed soil. Potting soil or potting mix is usually what it's called. It is lighter and it has better drainage, which is really important for containers. Years ago, let's see, from 2006 until 2016, we lived in a condo, and I had a nice big back deck, which, it was good for a condo. And so I had to do all my gardening, where I basically learned gardening starting with container gardening, because that was my only option. I didn't have any option for raised beds or growing in the ground. All I had was containers. So I come from a lot of experience with that. And then our next house, we moved to the regular suburban house with the 7,000 square foot lot. And my husband built raised beds for me there. And it was so exciting. I felt like I was moving to a farm then, compared to being in a condo with only a deck and then moving to a regular house with having raised beds. It was like the best thing ever. I remember getting the dirt for our raised beds. It was delivered on Valentine's Day, I think. And I was so excited to get a pile of stinky dirt in the driveway as a Valentine's present, basically, and got my beds all filled up. But now, moving here, compared to that house, we moved here last summer, and we have 2.5 acres, which, by usual homesteading standards, that's not a lot. But for me and for our purposes, it's a lot. It's a lot to maintain, for one thing. But it just feels, I'll do a tour soon in another video. But it feels huge to me compared to what I came from just before this. And it makes it feel like the possibilities are kind of endless. We don't plan to have cows, or probably not goats either. We don't have the fencing for that, and it sounds like a lot of trouble. Plus, I don't really have any interest in having dairy goats, so they wouldn't really serve any purpose other than being funny and cute. So for now, it's probably just gonna be chickens. Maybe we'll do meat chickens later on. We would have to learn all about processing our own, butchering and processing our own meat birds. But, you know, that could be a long way off in the future. All right, it's done. And see, there's my blue tag. Let me keep track. These petunias, I was hoping they would be the trailing kind, but I really don't think they are. I think they're the more upright growing type, but I think they'll still be pretty. And I was excited to try this out. So I was ready to plant something. We have warm weather coming up this week. Like it's gonna get to 83 on Friday or something, which that's after a very long fall, winter, and spring of rain and clouds. I like the cooler weather, especially when I'm doing gardening projects. Like right now it's 45, that's awesome. But the heat, of course, is important for my garden. So I just can't wait to see it warm up and everything to really take off. It's gonna be fun to go out and garden every day and see what's changed. When I was back at my condo, I grew everything. I've always been more interested in growing vegetables than flowers. Flowers are pretty, but that's not what I think of first. I think of the vegetables and the edible things first. And then I'll go, oh, I should put some flowers in to make it pretty. But back at the condo, I grew potatoes in containers. I even grew corn in containers pretty successfully, at least one year. The ears were shorter, but they were perfect. They pollinate, they were awesome. And it was so fun to be able to eat my own corn. I took my corn with me on a trip to LA to visit some of my friends on a plane. And we grilled it there in LA. My first farm fresh corn from my condo deck. But it was pretty rewarding to have grown that, and it tasted really good, of course. So if you only have containers, you can grow almost anything. Take it from my experience. I should see if I can find a picture of the corn in a big pot to post up here and let you see. I should be doing also as I go. So these are the watering discs that go between each level. They have little tiny holes. They're kind of hard to see when there's dirt in here. These little holes at the bottom, you just line up those holes with where the pocket, where the plant is. And then you just kind of align it over that center hole. And then when you stack the planters, it will squish down and they do lock together. But sometimes if your soil's real full, it can be tricky. So the ones I've already planted, I'm gonna go ahead and put this. And on top of that, the top water reservoir goes here. You gotta line it up. There's these little notches that line up with the inside notches. And it can definitely be tricky, especially if you got a lot of soil, because it tends to push out the shape of the tier. So just kind of gotta work your way around and make sure those notches are in the right spot. Okay, I'm pretty sure my husband will be out here later on to tell me I can't put that there because that's where the bonsai trees go, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, now this is my least favorite part. These can be quite heavy. Again, gotta line them up just right. Blue tag's going here. Like a shower cap, but it can be tricky because it's tight, but there we go. Just push that down, and now it's time to water. Also, when you first plant, it's good to water all the pockets, not just the top. I'm not so worried about it because my soil started out pretty wet. It was already being rained on, but I just, you want to do this to make sure they all get soaked that first watering or two. And then you fill the top also. Thanks for watching. I hope if you liked my video that you'll consider subscribing. And in a couple of weeks we will check back and see once there's some blooms on here and see, hopefully that spiral pattern will show the way I'm imagining. And I'll show you what it looks like. Thanks. See you later.